What is one of these and how can we use it to create dynamic portraits of cosplay artists with impact? Let's find out. Say hi to Amy, everyone. She's in studio for the first time ever. It's Amy's first visit to the studio, so thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Cool, is Amy all right? So Amy is here in her cosplay attire, which is Lilith inspired from the computer game series.
Diablo 4.
Diablo 4. Yeah, Diablo 4. It's the fourth of the Diablos, the best of all the Diablos. I'm sure there are more than 4 Diablos. How many Diablos are there?
Oh, no, then there are now 4.
Oh, there are now 4, so that was it. It's just 4 and they're all about computer and video games. So with this wrestling intertwined with cosplay attire, we're going to showcase to you how you can work and control light in small spaces. The first thing that we've done is we've built a bit of a set here, really. If you come back with me this way, we're going to have a look at the backdrop here. Now, the backdrop here is a hand-painted backdrop that we painted for a previous shoot here, just on a piece of plywood. And it's got these sort of brush strokes here in blue that, to me, look like these sort of old world paintings. If you look up Munch's self-portrait of From Hell picture, it looks a little bit like that. Saturn devouring his son, that kind of thing. They're horrible paintings, don't look at them for too long. But it's got that sort of effect to it, which looks sort of like a bit of a hellscape to me. We've painted it, in this case, in blue. It was for something completely different. So what we're gonna do first of all is we're gonna start off with our key light here. Now, because Amy has amazing facial structure, she has amazing hair, and she has amazing contact lenses. Go and have a look at these contact lenses. Look at how amazing they are. Open it, there we go. Look at those. That helps add. All of this helps add to the set and the design that we're trying to bring together. So we're going to start off with a hard light source, and the hard light source we're going to be using is this. It's the HONEYCOMB 3 here, and we've just put a standard reflector cap on the outside. By using the modeling light in it, I can see where the light is going to be falling on Amy here. So I'm just going to bring it up roughly 45 degrees round, 45 degrees up, and 45 degrees down towards her here. We're going to set up our camera, as we always do in these sessions. ISO 100, oh actually we're not, we're going to change it this week. It is ISO 100 still, but I've just moved it up to f11 and 1/160th of a second to do it on standard shutter speed sync. Why have we moved from f8 to f11? No reason. It's a slightly longer depth of field, so if we're further away from the backdrop, there's a chance that it's going to catch more of the texture of the backdrop, more of those brush strokes, and make more of that to create that impactful scene. I'm going to get Amy to do one big pose here for me, just nice and simple, looking straight in towards the camera here. I'm going to come down here on a slightly lower angle to give her dominance in the frame. So I'm coming down from low, she looks bigger in shot, and she looks like she's looking down upon us, giving us that powerful look in shot. Straight down towards me into camera, 3, 2, 1, go. And we're going to see when the image pops up on here. We've got good expression there, and we've got simple light there falling onto the backdrop there. Nice, simple, clean portrait. But what if we want to really tap into those elements of the cosplay, elements of the character, to really help tell a story? Well, in this instance, we're going to use a gel. I'm going to showcase to you now how we're going to use that gel on the backdrop. We're going to bring in our second HONEYCOMB 3 here, and we've put a red gel on the front of it. So it's the same cap as we're using on our main light. I'm going to bring it behind Amy here, if you come in with me here. And when we turn it on, you're going to see that this backdrop, with the modeling lamp there, we can see where the red is going to hit that backdrop and give us a nice red exposure across the whole image. So with our main light turned off, we're just going to test the exposure of this red light in the background here. So it should just make the whole background go this sort of hellscape red hue, and we should have a silhouette in the foreground. That's what we're trying to achieve with this first shot here. Coming into the same position, exactly the same camera settings, 3, 2, 1, go. And that didn't work because that didn't turn off. What a prick. Same again, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. And there we have good red exposure against the background, showcasing off those brush strokes and really making it look much more like a hellish backdrop in camera. So now all we need to do is just add our main light into this scene. So we're going to bring our main light back in exactly the same place that it was before, sort of up and down and slightly round to the side. And we're going to see how all of this works together with that nice deep scarlet red hue, crimson red in the background, and that key light catching the skin and catching our main subject and giving us that nice hard light in the foreground. Coming back down into position, looking good eye contact with the camera. 3, 2, 1, go. Now, this is where we have a problem with the key light. What's happened here is that the key light is spilling light out everywhere into this shot. Out to the side, out above, out below, bouncing off the white floor. And it's even bouncing as far as going into the background, and it's mixing in with that red gel in the background. There are still hues of red in that background, but it's not as deep a red as it was before with the key light spilling light everywhere. The first instinct in this situation is just to turn your main light down so it's less powerful. But when we do that, same pose again, 3, 2, 1, go. But when we do that, we notice that we are underexposing for Amy in the foreground, and there is still some spill onto that background. So our solution for this is a honeycomb grid. And it looks a bit like this, and it's got lots of little honeycomb as I prepare to cough. Oh God, here we go. Cool. So the solution to this is a honeycomb grid. It looks a little bit like this, and it's got lots of little honeycombs there, honeycomb hexagonal shapes within the metal mesh there in the foreground. And that means that light, when it comes out of this unit, is going to really channel through. There's not going to be an awful lot of spill. Because it's black, it's going to absorb some of the light, which means we might have to turn the power of the light up, maybe by a stop. But there it is, it just fits in into the front of the reflector cap, and it means that there's not a lot of spill out the side here, and all of the spill is concentrated on what's coming out from the front of the light. If we keep it here, 45 degrees up, 45 degrees down, and 45 degrees round, we will see with the modeling light that we can accurately put it where Amy's face is. So we know that that light is going to catch her face. And if we bring our camera around here, we'll also be able to see that the light is spilling over into that far corner. What that means is that none of that light is going to be spilling onto the background. It's just going to be going off into that far corner. And where I'm shooting straight through, we should get a really bright crimson red backdrop without any spillage of light on it, so that it's got a much deeper hue and a really sorry, I don't know where this has come from. I ate a hobnob and I think it's all gone down. And a really concentrated hard light source onto Amy's face here. So I've just added about half a stop onto my main light there, just to make sure, just to see how that reacts. Great pose in there for me, Amy. Oh my word, and there we have it. We have a beautiful use of light across the face, which is really strong and powerful. And we've got deep red crimsons. If we move this light even further round, we can really catch it and do an almost classic Rembrandt style lighting across the face, making real deep shadows. And we have to be really keen with the pose here, so just follow my lead on the face there. That's all you need to do. Perfect, hold that there. 3. If anything, turn the head very slightly this way. Perfect. We look at that beautiful triangle of light just coming up. Give me different expressions with the face. Bring one hand up underneath the face there for me, something like that. Perfect. Beautiful. 3, 2, and 1. Princess of Darkness. Probably. I don't know. She's quite nice in real life. Look. I don't. Shh. Now with this, one other thing that we've done. So from that we've done half-length shots from that low angle. But even with this lighting setup, we can work even closer, and we can work on a slightly longer focal length to give us just simple head and shoulder shots. And using the modeling light, we can see exactly where the light is falling. So you need to come in nice and close here. You can come and see with me. We're trying to just watch for this little triangle of light, which is just underneath the right-hand eye as we look at it. And we're looking to control that so that it maintains as a triangle. When Amy starts to turn her head towards the light, you'll start to see the nose shadow change. And then when she starts to turn her head around this way, you'll start to see it change so that it almost completely disappears. So I'm going to be looking to maintain that triangle of light as much as possible to give us a really strong cinematic style lighting from back in when cinema was proper cinema in Hollywood. So we're just going to go in nice and close and just get some nice close shots of the contact lenses and shots of expression. So every time Amy sees a light, she's just going to change her expression very slightly. Keep going. Good. Beautiful. Yep, good. Beautiful. Bring the hands into the pose here for me, just around about here. That's good. Keep changing. Turn the head towards me. That's nice. Yeah, that's good. Do this straight on there for me with something like this there for me, just like that. That's beautiful. 3, 2, 1 more. Chin down, 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 down. There. Turn the head towards me slightly. There. There's your shot. 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful! Looks way more powerful when you're not smiling. So there we go. By using a grid, we've managed to control the spill of light in shot. And sometimes when we first start using gels and mixing them with white light sources, that's where we fall into problems where the result isn't looking as contrasty and as impactful as we might want. Amy, come and have a look at these shots here. Make sure you're happy.
Oh, yes.
Okay, right.
Oh, that's so good.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on, it's a collaborative thing.
No, this is you.
These ones are great.
Love that. I really like the shadows on this side.
There we go. See, this is all these hours at the gym paying off here, aren't they? Yeah, which is cool. If you've enjoyed this video, you can go to nofussmust.com and you can download your free posing guide. You can download our 1, our 2, and our 3 light workshops. They're deep dive workshops on how to use 1, 2, or 3 lights. You can subscribe so you can keep up to date with when our seminars in person are happening, or you can apply for an online critique where I'll go through your portfolio with you, discuss your images and see if we can't elevate your photography to the next level. Amy, if you enjoyed your experience in studio today,
It's been brilliant. Absolutely wonderful.
we'll take that, that's fine. Like and subscribe, say nice things, and as ever, all the very best.